Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and welcome to Astral Drive, what will prove to be the last 2 episodes of the season, whether we like it or not. I am not alone, though. I have 3 wonderful players that help bring this world to life. Directly above my head, you will see Aether Dios playing Jerrold Brago.
Dio.
Right next to him, in the middle, the Build Master, the man with the plan, Philbilly330, playing Nullus Stonehand.
What's up, guys?
And then finally, last but certainly not least, our partner in all things TTRPG, Wizard's Respite, Ash, playing Alfred Whitecastle, or some other name that we're going to get to today.
Howdy, folk.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right back into it. Alright, so we begin today with Nullus and Alfred, who have just got onto the first Scalera ship. They put out the fire. There are 4 different Pales present, kind of walking around, kind of there was, if I recall correctly, there was 2 leaning on each other just absent-mindedly in the cargo hold, and then as you guys kind of moved up into kind of the larger kind of almost crew area, you had seen one just sitting at a table in front of an empty mug of coffee, just staring at it absently. And then there was one more just kind of wandering around. But everything else is very quiet. And you guys had put out the fire using the airlock back. So, that's where we are. At this point, I'm going to actually have Philbilly give me a mechanics check. And we're going to do this with a... we're going to do this with a difficulty of 10.
Intelligence mechanics.
Yes.
I rolled a 15-17 total, so I'll get a token.
Okay, take a token. So you find that there are 2 airlock doors other than the one that you guys have connected to. There's one in the starboard side of the ship. It's just kind of a small, almost kind of like, I don't want to say an escape hatch, but it's definitely not like, it's more like a walk-on, walk-in hatch. It's not necessarily the main door. This ship itself, from your mechanics check, is an archipelago ship, so it is a lot of piping, a lot of steam. This ship has a steampunkish feel to it, gears that don't even make sense in a lot of places, and stuff like that. So the door itself, though, but it is definitely like a smaller cargo / smuggling ship. Like this would be like a runner ship, probably. Small cargo halls of important merchandise from one place to another. So the front of the ship has like a large kind of secondary unloading door, which would probably have been the main airlock. That is also connected to the ship. And it is at this point, well, do you let everybody know about the doors?
Yeah. I'll relay that information.
At this point, Alfred. Oh, I'm already giving it away. Alfred, you need to give me a real quick navigation plus intelligence roll at a difficulty of 15. And this will be for you to get your bearings and try and figure out which doorway will lead you guys closer to your goal.
I got a 14. God, I missed it by 1.
14?
Yeah.
You have no idea. You would actually, you only missed it by 1, so you wouldn't necessarily be like, I'm sure this one and it's the wrong one, but you can't really tell from your bearing in the ship which one is going to lead you closer to the missionary one. Whether or not you want to divulge the information that you just don't know is up to you, but yeah, you're not sure which one. Mavis kind of chimes in and goes, I'm sorry, hon. Relatively used to Actually, did she have a little bit of a southern accent? I can't remember. She goes, I'm used to the planet stuff. I'm not going to be useless up here, but I'm not going to be able to tell us which way to go. You actually, give me, both of you can give me an empathy charisma check real quick. Difficulty is going to be 10 on this one.
Surprise, surprise, Alfred does not have empathy as a skill.
I don't either, but I have a high charisma. I rolled an 8 plus 3, so I got 11, so I passed.
Nice. Okay.
I got a natural 20, so I actually...
Alfred is focused on figuring out which door it is and failing. While Nullus, you actually, while Mavis is kind of talking, notice that Santacano is... he is having a hard time. Like, you actually see him, he's stepped off the ship now, and he's actually kind of like moving his hands, and even though they're moving normally, you could see that he's having kind of like a hard time with something. Almost like, it almost looks like somebody's high for the first time in front of you. Like, he's kind of moving his hands in front of his face, experimenting with his body in the space, like that kind of stuff. And he looks a little distressed.
I look at him, I'm like, you gonna be alright there?
He looks up a little stressed out and he goes, I am sorry. I have never been in a place without air before. It is unnerving.
He has one of those suits on, though, right? So he's like not.
He has one of the suits.
Yeah.
He's completely protected, but he's a green who has been alive for lots of years, and is much more in I guess, like in touch with nature. And there is no nature in space. It's an absence of nature, and you can tell that kind of aspect definitely is taking some getting used to him. Santacano is very old and wise, but he's only ever been on planet on Genesis. Like, he's never been off planet. He's never traveled through space. So this is all like a very new experience for him. Just think, if a tree was alive, if it would want to be in space, it would really not want to be in space. So I think that that's kind of the vibe you're getting.
Well, think of it this way, Santacano. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you got quite a bit to learn up here, so I'm sure your knowledge will grow exponentially.
He looks at you confused and goes, how many old dogs have you attempted to teach tricks to?
It's one of those fleshy sayings, I suppose.
I see. Breakdown of communication. Thank you for trying to put my mind at ease. I will get used to it. It is just not like anything I have experienced before, and that is not something that happens to me often.
I understand. Just make sure you keep your head in the game. We're going to need you.
All right, while you two are conversating, Mavis kind of walks away from you guys just slightly and over to Alfred, who has been kind of looking back and forth between two doors. And she just kind of goes, you do know where we're going, right?
Absolutely not.
She goes,
let's go through this door. And I just like, you said it was like one right in front of us and one off to the right, right?
Yeah, there's a smaller kind of access door that would be like a personal door for somebody to get on and off, and then there's like a larger kind of cargo door towards the front of the ship, like a secondary cargo.
Okay, and like
say that to her.
Oh man, I wasn't like being particularly. I was being quiet enough not to disturb the zombies in the room.
I would probably say, I'd be like, Alfred, we can't just be making these hasty decisions without flipping a coin.
It's not hasty at all. That is a very large door up there, and I'm thinking the smaller door might be easier to close if there's a horde of Galera monstrosities behind it. I figure we go through the small door first and hope for the best.
Yeah, we're good at that.
All right, so
Give me a couple of seconds.
you go up to the access door.
Yeah, I'd like to go up to the access door and sort of take a look around it, see if there's any way for me to like get anything off it, like a blood smear, or like scraping on the other side, or that something horrible. Like just give it like make sure it's moderately safe.
Are you guys ready to have a little fun?
When you word it like that, of course.
I am going to be asking for rolls. I'm going to alternate between the two of you because that is how we're generating this dungeon as we go. So, Nellis, give me the first D20 roll.
That would be a 2.
All right.
If I say that I'm not ready for fun, if I'm ready for a boring game, like a really dull one, can we not die today?
I don't know if you realize whose game you're in, but okay. Wizard, give me a roll.
Just D20? 2.
Hold on a second. Sorry, it's been a while since I actually broke the chart up. I need to remember what I was trying to go for. Yeah, just give me one D20.
All right, I got a 2.
Wow. Okay. Phil, D20.
8.
That's nice. That's a good thing. Alfred?
Yeah.
D20.
14.
Okay. Phil, D20.
Also 14.
Okay. Alfred, D20.
10.
Okay. Phil?
That's weird. 10.
This is getting ominous. Like I feel like we're like taking steps closer to our own death every time we roll.
In fairness, it is a good amount of rolls because you're basically defining the entire ship that you're about to go through into. All right, so
I thought we were just doing one room.
Okay. Wait. Oh, that's you just get that. Okay. One roll. Okay, give me a D20 roll.
19.
Yeah, whoever's next in line. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. So you go up to the door. What were you doing to it now?
I was taking a look around, seeing if I couldn't find like anything like that would alert me to any sort of danger on the other side, or like maybe hearing something on the other side, any like obvious like blast from like firepower or anything like that.
The door looks in pretty straightforward working order. Nothing really necessarily wrong with it or broken. If Nullis wants to take a mechanics roll to attempt to figure out how to use the door / open the door, I'll allow it.
I will do that.
Since this is archipelago technology, I'm going to say your difficulty's 15.
I got a 19, so dirty 21.
Nice, dirty 21. Okay, that's a momentum, sir. Yeah, so you go up to the door. It's not hot. There doesn't seem to be anything to it. It takes you a second because the archipelago technology is very different. You know, it's basically like the keyboard's like a typewriter, like chick 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 chick. It just gets kind of weird to you. You manage to input the commands, and the door kind of slides open. As it slides open, you're again into this like airlock tunnel that goes between two doors. I'm sorry, between two ships. This ship, the next ship in front of you, you're able to kind of see it because this archipelago, and this is kind of a creepy thing, which we're all going to take resolve rolls in a second. But the airlock that connects this ship to the other ship is clear. It's like clear, kind of like plastic. So basically it's like floating. It's like walking through space to the other door. So you kind of step out into the void for a second. So I'm going to want everybody to give me endurance resolve checks as you literally walk out into the void.
Can I use a momentum to re-roll that?
No rerolls.
Yeah,
Don't forget about the advantage.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to ask you something, Alfred. Your restrictor bracelet. Do you have that on?
Yes.
Okay, I need you to randomly choose 2 perks that you don't have right now.
Okay.
I only got a 9.
9? So
Yep.
you both failed that one?
Yeah, I got 2.
Okay. Okay. So
I guess it was
guys,
5
do you,
mods.
like, you're both used to space, right? You've both been in space. You were trained with the Hearth Collective. But stepping out into this desolate kind of impromptu space station that's just spinning through the void of space into clear plastic where you are walking on like silicone, like that you could see through and see through the up, like it's basically like plexiglass. It just does something to you. There's just this pit like that just sucks at your stomach. It hurts you. It is not happy. Pickles does not want anything to do with this at all. I'm gonna need you to give me an animal handling to get Pickles to keep coming, because he's like, no fucking way. That's just me walking into the void of nothing. It's like a dog with stairs times 37, like open stairs.
Should be good. 21.
Okay. All right. You're able to get Pickles to come through. However, for the next, I'm going to get a little counter out. For the next 3 ships, you guys are frazzled, basically, to the point where, like there's just something about this that actually starts to boost your anxiety. This never felt like a suicide mission until right now. And now it feels like you're on a suicide mission in a death box, basically. So for the next 3 rounds, for the next 3 ships, you will be at a -3 for all your rolls. Okay? Once you're outside of that, you'll be able to okay, I'm doing okay, and you'll be able to recenter yourself. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So with that said, you guys move up to the next door. Nullis is able to get through that. It slides open. You pass into this next ship. Funny enough, it's another archipelago ship. An archipelago ship that's actually somehow slightly smaller than the one that you were just in. This one does not seem to have any pale present. Instead, this one is just kind of like a back end kind of bay, and then a front pilot area, and then a couple of bunks. It's all one room. Nullis, anybody can give me mechanics to try and figure out the point of this ship. That being said, there is only one door that exits from this ship.
Ooh, I crit.
You crit?
Yep.
Okay. So, you know that this is kind of a utility ship. Like, just from what you can see around you, like, it is the equivalent of the cable guy's van, you know, like, but a ship version of that. It's not made to haul cargo. It's not made to do anything other than probably fix ships that are broken in space, that are flying dead, maybe fixed satellites or other pieces of equipment, maybe just
A mobile repair facility.
Yes, it is a utility ship all the way. Probably there was only ever 2 people on this, and whatever happened to them, you don't know. They are not in this ship right now. It is empty. There is one access door on the exact opposite side of where you are right now, and that is the only way out forward, unless you guys move back and go through the other door.
I want to make an investigation check because since I realized what it is, and I realized that they would have specialty tools, I'm specifically looking for any kind of tool, like for lack of knowledge of like the tech in the world, essentially a master key to open doors.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, so if we were to run into something that was locked, like maybe a universal, you know, key. If that exists, I don't know if it does or not, but that's what I'm looking for.
I want you to give me a mechanics check. No, awareness notice check. Difficulty is 10 on this.
Like perception awareness, you mean?
Yeah, perception awareness. Sorry, I don't know what I said.
I'm going to roll with advantage.
Probably a good call on this one.
Oh, nice. So that's 18, 19, 20, 21.
Okay. Take a momentum, if you can, and as you kind of walk forward onto the kind of the main walkway thoroughfare, you kind of walk towards that kind of utility part. You're actually able to notice that there is a cable on the back side of the ship that has come loose and is just connected, like cable side down, to the flooring, the metal flooring pads. Now the flooring themselves are kind of in sections. You're not exactly sure why you're not getting shocked right now, but you just know enough to know that the sections in front of the bins of tools, because the way it works is it's a small section in the back. Either side has like lockers where you would store like tools and equipment and stuff. Probably one of those is going to have your master key, if there is one. That being said, though, this conduit is touching those platforms. There is gravity in this ship. There is oxygen in this ship. And you know that because Santa Cana walks in and goes, air here. And you've come to realize that Santa Cana is going to be very useful for telling if there's air in a ship or not. But yeah, so the kind of the floor is electrified in front of the lockers.
Okay, actually, I turned to Santa Cano, and I'm like, Santa Cano, your body is plant-based, correct?
Yes.
So, you're a natural ground. Would you be able to pick that conduit up and stop this the arcing of the electricity?
Yes. And then sure enough, he just walks right out, grabs the conduit, picks it up, and holds it up. He doesn't have anywhere to put it. He kind of looks at you because, like you said, he's a natural ground, but being a natural ground, he is not doesn't worry about electricity, so he doesn't kind of understand conduction because it's just not something he deals with. So he kind of holds it up, and at one point he touches the wall and like almost shocks you guys from the far side. So you're gonna have to direct him how to hold the conduit or place the conduit in a way that you can actually walk on the that isn't dangerous.
I see him lift it towards the ceiling. No. Just keep it up. Don't let it touch anything. I gotta look around.
Okay. He's like, I can stand. And then he becomes a tree. Just stands there with it. Mavis kind of steps in and goes, what are we looking for?
I'll tell you, to be honest, not exactly sure. I realize this ship is like a mobile repair unit, and I figure if we're gonna make it deeper into this ship and find any, locked doors and stuff, maybe there's some sort of master key card that a repair vessel would have on board. It's kind of a shot in the dark, but I don't know. It's worth a shot to check out what kind of tools they have that could be beneficial for us as we get deeper.
She puts a hand on your shoulder, which is very like motherly hand on your shoulder, and goes, hey, a shot in the dark is a shot. And then she kind of steps in and goes, good idea. And then she starts to look with you. So everybody can give me here's the thing. If you've got a shitty roll, you probably shouldn't. But I'm going to say anybody who wants to give me a perception mechanics, because you're looking for something, but you need to know what you're looking for. So perception mechanics to try and find something. But remember, if you fail by too much, you're going to give me momentum. So if you don't have it, you might want to consider not doing it. I'm going to put the difficulty at 15 because it's archipelago technology. Like Alfred would be the closest to knowing what he's looking for, but he doesn't really know what he's looking for because that's not his area. So, I would say difficulty 15 to find the thing that you're looking for and know that that's the thing you need.
And I will do it with advantage.
Okay.
But there's also something I want to do, and tell me if I need a roll to do it. I actually make eye contact with Alfred and gesture as subtly as I can towards Mavis. Like, I'm trying to say without saying, keep an eye on her. I'm just distrustful of all these new people we met, and I guess because I'm distrustful, I'm worried that her all of a sudden helping, is she trying to find and hide something? It could be total paranoia. Okay. But that's where.
Actually, I'm going to give an empathy roll for Alfred to pick up on your subtle cues.
Okay, I got a 10. Just charisma.
You see him gesture towards Mavis. You may be in fear, maybe to watch her, or maybe you in fear that he likes her, or maybe you in fear that, he definitely is trying to convey something to you about Mavis. You're just not exactly sure what. You see it, but you're not able to parse exactly what he said. Okay.
I think that Alfred would definitely, at very least, keep an eye on, watch her. Just if nothing else, to try to figure out what the hell Nellis is saying. Right. He's obviously indicating Mavis, so he's just going to be okay, this is a person of interest of some reason.
Okay.
It could just be, it could just be Nellis being paranoid, but I don't know. I think he would think that.
I do want to.
I'd probably be more inclined to think that, because I do know. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Abrego's already told me about Nellis has already told me about the picture of Abrego. So I would probably be thinking more that he's wanting me to make sure she's safe to some degree, to kind of watch over her. Would be my first inclination. I know.
All right, I'm gonna give her a really quick roll just to see if she picks up on anything. Okay. All right. So you guys start looking for stuff.
What's my difficulty? You said 15, I believe.
15.
Come on, dice.
When you get a chance, there was something I was going to try and do on this ship.
Okay.
Thank God I took advantage. So 12, 13, 14. Whew, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Dude.
Ooh.
My other dice was a 2.
Close.
Oh.
Okay. So here's what you find. Okay. It takes a little bit. Mavis is looking too, but you can tell she just doesn't know what she's looking for. However, she's kind of looking through a locker, and she kind of moves something to the side, and something falls down, and you get a glimpse at it, and you're like, wait a second. I think that looks useful. You go over and you kind of mess with it for a second. It takes you a while to kind of figure out what it is, because you just barely beat the difficulty. So you're just like fingers on the edge of the cliff sort of success. But after a second, you start... Well, I'm going to let you play with it. I'll tell you what it is in a second. Alfred, what was it you wanted to do?
You said this was kind of like all one room and that the cockpit was also kind of right there. I was actually going to take a look at the cockpit area and the controls to see if like there's any sort of like heads-up display or map I could maybe of this whole hive, or like get a general idea of like maybe a radar situation of how these things are connected together. So either like maybe navigation or maybe a rogue roll if I had to like hack it or something.
All right. So you go over to it. You start kind of looking at it, kind of like trying to figure stuff out. You can tell you've seen archipelago ships. This isn't your first day with archipelago ships. So you can tell that this ship is in kind of like a standby mode so much. Like, so that's why the conduit still has electricity, but there's not necessarily electricity going to all the systems. Like almost like it docked and somebody put it in kind of like a sleep mode, like a computer in sleep mode sort of thing. That's why there's a couple of like red lights here and there. There's nothing like fully on. You can attempt to turn this on. That takes a navigation roll. Navigation intelligence. And I also want you to call high or low for me if you do it.
Okay, I'm gonna go for it. High. I'm aiming high. Ooh. So I got like a 25.
All right, give me a real quick. Get a momentum and then call high or low.
High.
Yay, chaos. Okay. So the roll was low, as you figure out. You start fiddling with it. You're like, oh, I could get this on. I can get this turning on. Maybe this will help us map things. And as you flip that final power switch, things just start to boom, 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 and you just see air. And then you realize that they flew this in, they turned it off, they docked it floating to the ship. They did not ever turn the thrusters off. So when you turn it on, it's basically the thrusters are just going. So the whole ship just goes, just lurches. The whole sclera hive starts to kind of twist off the thrusters. I need everybody to give me a agility. What will this be? Agility acrobatics. Agility acrobatics roll. Difficulty 15. To not just go flying as this entire ship just like lurches to like life.
What was that difficulty?
Difficulty is 15.
Ooh, I'm gonna spend a momentum.
I'm gonna use a luck token.
Whoa. Did you already roll? Oh, no, you...
No, I'm rolling now.
Okay, gotcha.
I already rolled and I'm using my luck token.
Okay.
Okay, that was a little bit better. That was all I needed, actually.
I tied it, which is a fail.
I got a 16. I barely passed it on my second roll.
Alright, so Nullus failed, but dead on failed, right?
Yeah.
And then Alfred barely got it. Right?
Yeah.
Santacano rolled a 20. on the die, and Mavis
Thank
rolled a
God,
19 on
because
the
he's
die.
holding electric.
I know.
I know.
That was the one that I was like,
I didn't think
oh,
about that.
everybody gets electrocuted. So the whole thing just like lurches as the thrusters turn on full bore. You can actually feel it start to kind of push the space station. And I want you to give me another high-low call, and this is a real important one because this thing is only connected by 2 very flimsy plastic airlocks. So we need to make sure that they don't just break free and you guys go floating off into space.
Fuck this up.
I know.
I know.
So,
There's no skill roll for this. This is a random thing, so I have to give you a high-low on it. There's no other way I can do this.
Do you want to do this one?
Fuck no, I don't want this responsibility. Captain.
Alright, high. We'll do high again.
The roll was a 20, sir. So the
Oh,
ship
fuck,
holds,
thank goodness.
at least for now. You hear creaks and moans. You actually manage to, the minute it comes on, you're lurched back, but you manage to catch the seat belt. Like the seat, no, it wouldn't be a belt, but you know what I mean.
Grab the
You know what I mean. The straps. God. Harness. Thank you. Harness. The harness and kind of hold yourself in place as the whole thing starts to lurch. Nellis, you are not as fortunate because you are just playing with this thing like, ooh, this is going to help us. And then all of a sudden, you're in midair. And you're like, what the fuck? And then boom, you slam into a locker face first as the whole thing kind of spins around. When it spins around, though, so you're gonna take 3 vitality damage, unsoakable, just 3 straight vitality damage. Not the worst it could have been. But you slam into it. You're gonna have a bump on your temple. You actually go falling backwards, and you actually feel Mavis catch you. As you fall backwards, she kind of catches you. You hear a scream like, "What the hell was that, Alfred?" Alfred. What are you doing? Because you're the only one in the cockpit. Everybody's in the back. Santa Cano also kind of like, you just see him like he goes into a horse stance and somehow just like he leaves his feet for a second and then lands perfectly, still holding this cable in the air. Like
His roots grab the ground.
Yeah. He's just like not letting it touch.
Can I turn off the thrusters like now, or like are they still going, or
yeah, you're gonna need to give me a navigation intelligence check to just really quickly like click them off and get there in time. I'm only gonna make it a 10.
that was actually a 19.
Okay, take a momentum. You move forward. You hit a couple of buttons and pull back on a stick, and the thrusters stop. Just yelp, 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 and then the alerts are still going, but they're not as loud. You guys can all feel yourselves still spinning though, and you guys hear Croak come in over the ping. He's like, "Holy Lord, what the hell was that? The whole thing started spinning. What are you guys doing in there? You can't turn those ships on."
It would appear to be so. Thank you, Croak. I'm guessing I didn't get a map or anything like that off of this thing.
Unfortunately, no. This thing cannot map the ships that it's connected to for you. Like it gives you details about you being connected to the ships, and you can maybe use it to scan a ship or two next to you, but you won't be able to like get a map of how to get to the Missionary One from here.
Okay. Can I at least do that and scan the ships next to see like dangers, like other threats?
Definitely, but we gotta go to Aether. Before we do, I want to explain to Nellis what he got. Nellis, after you kind of like, before you started to fly through the air, you realized what that device is. It is basically like it is the spaceship equivalent of a car diagnoser computer. So like if you plug this into like a door connector, you'll be able to get a read on all the errors that are coming your way. It won't necessarily tell you like life forms inside or all the problems that you might be facing, but it'll at least be able to tell you, what is physically potentially wrong with the ship or what the ship is that you're going into. That being said, there's a limitation on this, and that is it can only be used on archipelago ships, which inevitably means you guys are not going to roll another archipelago ship through the rest of the dungeon, but it can only be used on archipelago ships. It is not made for Genesis ships, Hearth Collective ships, or Axiom Defense Force ships.
That would have been useful a moment ago.
All right, we switch over to Jerrold. Jerrold, you guys have arrived at the ranch house, and this is a beautiful palatial ranch. It's well off the beaten trail, well outside the city. You can tell that these people have purchased a lot of land, and they have built up on it, like an old school ranch, like the kind of ranch that was kind of almost like a city unto itself. There is a large manor where you are sure the landowner and his family stay. There is also kind of like there's a stables, there's multiple work sheds, and there is definitely a large kind of bunkhouse for different people who work for them. As you kind of pull up to the front, there's also this large gaudy fountain in the center. But I mean, if you're rich, you got to put a fountain in. It's just required.
It's one of those things.
Yeah, exactly. If I make a lot of money, fountain, gaudy fountain, right in the middle of my front yard. So you kind of pull up, you get out. Everybody steps out, and you can see that the landowners are coming out to meet the group of you. The landowners. I gotta find them in my little things. The landowner is Kaysen Vaughn. And Trixie Vaughn. They are young for landowners, but so they don't have any kids or anything, but they own the whole thing right out.
Presumably human?
Yes, they are very human, very pilgrims. They kind of like walk over. As they're walking over, you actually see Kaysen kind of give you Eleanor and what was her name? Your
Relayed?
What?
Relayed?
Yeah, Relayed. And Relayed kind of a once over, like kind of confused, especially Relayed. But like as he kind of looks, and then he kind of like keeps his eyes on her the longest, and then looks back at Tobias, and you see him he bows. He goes, Matthias, protect you. We are honored to have your eminence here on our property to help us. When I requested aid, I had no idea that we would be getting one of such pomp and circumstance. It is truly an honor. You can tell by this guy's, he's got kind of like it's not an unrealistic coat. It's a little like you don't think any of the ranch hands would wear this coat, but it's not like gold crusted embroidered or anything. It's almost like a coat that makes it look like he's about to work, but he never works in it, sort of coat. And you can tell from his little pin that he is definitely a follower of Matthias, as far as the shepherdism goes. So yeah, you can tell he's kind of sputtering over himself. At this point, Tobias works his magic. He says, "Of course, please don't bow to me. I am happy to help you and our people. We have to, even me has to come down from his ivory tower every so often to help you. Am I right?" And he goes, "Oh, we are honored. We're going to make a wonderful dinner for you, a special dinner for you and your guests." And he kind of like looks around, and Tobias Pelton actually goes, "Let me introduce my guests." He doesn't go to you first, because he's saving you for last. He turns right to the Synop. and goes, "This is Eleanor. She is a very accomplished up-and-coming missionary of Genosha, right? Genosha? Did I remember a name? Oh, go me. She is an up-and-coming missionary of Genosha, bringing many into the fold." And then he points to he does not point out Rayleigh. He points out you because Rayleigh is there behind you. He points out to you and goes, "And this is my spiritual successor, Jerrold Abrego." This flabbergasts Kaysen just a little bit. He goes, "Your spiritual successor?" He kind of steps up and he bows to you as well. He goes, My, if you don't mind me saying, your people have come a long way. You must understand what an honor this is going to be."
That's kind of a backhanded.
It is backhanded, but
Yeah.
you know what? I'll give you an empathy. Give me an empathy charisma roll real quick on that comment.
Oh yeah, I didn't spend XP on empathy. YOLO. Contested?
No, not contested.
You know, I have to ask. 14.
Oh, that's good. You got it. You can tell that it's a backhanded comment out of ignorance, not necessarily maliciousness. Like you've had your share of malicious racists.
I've heard this plenty of times.
Yeah, you've had your share of malicious racists, but this guy, it's much more like oh wow, like you're doing great for your people kind of thing without realizing what he's saying. Not necessarily specifically trying to put you down on the back end.
He's very much that guy. Yep. Of course. May Matthias protect and ensure us all.
He's like, "I am more than honored to have not just the High Father of the Matthias Shepherdess wing, but the spiritual successor." And you actually hear a small scoff behind you, like a, jeez. And it's Rayleigh. And Rayleigh gets a dirty look from Tobias, but he does not point it out because he doesn't want to, like, bring attention to it. But yeah, at that point, Kaysen goes, come on. We shall go inside, we'll talk, and I'm sure you guys are weary from your journey. And then he and his wife, who has not said a word, just stood behind him the entire time, walk into the house.
Yeah, we follow after they turn. I'll nod a little bit to Relade, just for a moment. Yeah.
She shrugs. For every bit of it you get, she gets probably 3 times more because her tribe is not integrated in any way, shape, or form, and she's in one of the hardest wings of the religion to get into. So, she is you actually she, whatever you get, she gets 45 times worse. As far
easily.
as that kind of easily. So you guys walk into the house. It is incredibly nice, probably nicer than it should be, but there is a lot of really nice refreshments put out in the dining room table area. Lots of nice fruits and drinks and beverages, nothing alcoholic or anything, but just a lot of nice things, which you are thirsty and you are weary. You guys did have that terrible encounter on the road. You don't have horses, which is going to be an issue. But nonetheless, you sit down. He urges you guys all to drink and partake. And Tobias actually nods at you to drink because... do you drink? He nods at you to drink and eat.
Yep.
Okay. You start drinking and eating too, and then Tobias looks over and goes, Honorable Landowner Vaughn, now that we're here and we're refreshed and have tasted some of your wonderful hospitality, please tell us what seems to be the problem with the Felly. He goes, yes, the Felly. Well, that is kind of an issue. We bought this land. We bought it fair and square. I want to say like at least 30 years ago. My parents bought it and gifted it to myself and Trixie when we got married. I've turned it into a prospering ranch. And then all of a sudden, our bovins start going missing or getting killed or whatever. We find out that there is an entire Felly tribe that has set up shop only a half mile to the south, within the grazing range of the bovin. It's caused a lot of tension and issue because you must understand. No offense. He motions no offense to Rayleigh, and then he goes, but the people who are uninitiated, they don't understand. This isn't their land. We purchased it. It's ours. Now they're killing our livestock for food. At this point, that's where he pauses. Do you have questions to ask? Anything to add?
I'm letting Tobias go first.
He pauses for a second to see if you want to ask. After all, this is a training mission for you. So he's definitely, you can tell he's leaving room open for you to ask the questions if you want.
Okay. Yes. Do you have the deed of purchase documents? We know they're filed, of course, but
he looks right at you and smiles. He's like, you are a quick study. A test from the spiritual successor Matthias. What kind of follower of Matthias would I be if I didn't have the documents prepared and ready with standard accounting in triplicate forms? And he just pulls out a folder, just like any Matthias person would, and hands it to you. And you could tell that he is really happy with himself. Like he passed like a pious test of the accounting religion, basically.
Praise for that. Of course, may we all be so well accounted for.
As you start to go through the documents, which are all well and good, you don't even need to make a roll. They're very straightforward documents. He definitely purchased the land. Tobias kind of jumps in and goes, have you spoken to them at all? And he goes, yes, we have. We've tried to resolve things peacefully, as shepherds are wont to do. Some of our less pleasant ranch hands have wanted to take a more aggressive approach, but we would like to resolve things peacefully, with no savagery. He then goes, apparently, the Felly, it's some sort of like religious thing with them. Every 100 years, they return to these lands, and they have to do some sort of ceremony over the course of like 4 or 5 months, and just set up shop here for that amount of time. And look, I am as respectful of my neighbor as I possibly can be, but they are hunting our bovin, and when we tell them to stop hunting our bovin, they tell us that the bovin was a gift to everybody on the planet or some such nonsense like that, even though I paid 70 gens a head for those bovin that they are butchering and feeding their people with. I can't have them here for 5 months, regardless of whatever weird pagan ceremony they're attempting to enact. But they refuse to leave.
So in the paperwork, who is this land purchased from, and how reasonable was that price for the time.
The land was purchased from the government.
Well, I'm asking you,
Like-
the game master. From
Oh,
the
I know,
paperwork.
I'm telling you.
asking him. Yeah.
I'm telling you, as the game master, the land was purchased by the government. Like, like it's purchased from the government. It wasn't necessarily like cheap, like it was standard rate prices. But it was owned by Matthias, and Matthias ain't gonna give you a deal. Like that's just not what Matthias does. But there is no mention in any of these things to the ownership or validity of any tribal people before that. I do want you to quickly give me a knowledge intelligence roll.
23.
23. That's really good. You can take a momentum on that. You do know, from what you know of the Fellies, the Felli are an incredibly nomadic tribe. It's one of the reasons that integration with them is extremely difficult, because they don't stay in one place for a long time. As a tribe, they move from one place to another. They hunt and use the resources in that place until they feel it is dried up. Then they move to another place, and they just kind of circle areas so that they kind of like live in harmony or whatever. So that's kind of how they roll. They don't have cities. They don't, like, their government is just within their own, but like they don't have buildings. They are a nomadic tribe. So like the idea that they just kind of circled back through and this is where they're staying now is a regular thing for the Felli. And honestly, in fairness, not to defend Matthias at all, most likely there was no Felli here when they decided to claim it for themselves. There was probably no one in here because it's once every 100 years. So like they were just all the way around for 100 years and then came back.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So there's nothing more unreasonable for this. It's really just the bad timing.
Yeah, it's really just the bad timing. Like, I mean,
on top of everything else.
Yeah,
but.
there could be something dark and evil there, but like from what you know of the Felli tribe and what you know of Matthias staking claim to land where there's nobody there, it is very conceivable that the Felli just weren't here. Matthias was like, hey, empty land, claimed it for themselves, sold it to a landowner, that landowner gifted it to them, and then the original tribe came back through on their 100-year trek and were like, hey, we're back at the Holy Lands, fuck these people, we're just gonna do what we want. So like that's where you're at. And the Felli they're not an integrated tribe, and they kind of give a middle finger to the shepherdess and that kind of thing. Like they're not openly aggressive like the Iggies, but they could give a shit less if there's people here with fences.
Yep. Everything here looks quite in order. Now, when you spoke with them, what offers were perhaps negotiated at the time? So, of course, we do not waste resources repeating.
He looks a little miffed. He goes, well, in fairness, there was no offers given. This is my land, my legal right, and I requested them to leave. Tobias kind of jumps in at this point and goes, you must understand that if we are to do this peacefully, if we are to find a solution to this, there must be a compromise. And as the good book of Matthias preaches, compromise is the highest form of negotiation. And he kind of looks. He goes, yes, of course. I'm willing to give a little. But they won't come to the table. I ask them to leave, and they just say no. we're just here. Deal with it. So if you could get them to give to the table, I will be willing to give a little, as long as we don't have to leave our land, and maybe we could at least get them to stop hunting our bovine.
Well, I see that a fresh table is good for negotiating, and there are many paths to profit. I believe we have much we can work with.
All right. Tobias kind of stands up and goes, I think we're going to head out to the tribe. Get a good conversation in right off the bat. It's only about noon here, and the Feli are nothing if not negotiators and tradesmen. So maybe we can get a good discussion and repartee going today. Thank you for your hospitality, case. We'll be returning here potentially to sleep, if that's all right. He's like, I have had the best rooms made up for all of you. He looks at Rayleigh and goes, well, my count was a little bit off, but I will make sure to have another room made up and give you all the finest accommodations. And again, thank you so much for all of you coming here. You guys all start to kind of file out. Eleanor is kind of tracing with the High Father, and you're kind of hanging back a little bit, still looking at the file as you walk out. Rayleigh kind of comes up next to you and goes, you know, I'm just your bodyguard, but you know what happened here, right?
Oh, yes. It's... On one hand, it's at least consistent.
Yeah.
Never want surprises in these things.
Yeah, misunderstandings are always consistent around Genesis.
Yes. And it is very common for the folk to protect their investments rather than think more openly. I think we can fix this, though.
She kind of looks at you and goes, you know, I don't think I mind being your bodyguard, but I want to warn you one last thing before we get on that bus and go out there. Those Iggies that attacked us, Iggies never stray that far from their area, their hunting ground. And Feli are just like your boss says, extremely, we shouldn't say the High Father, just like the High Father says, extremely tradesman oriented. I mean, they move around so much, they gather stuff and trade with all sorts of tribes. It's how they stay alive. I'm gonna bet you dollars to donuts they're in contact with those Iggies. Those Iggies might even be there when we get there. And I just want you to be prepared for that.
I see my fear.
I feel that is, I'm now obligated to take your, to accept your bet in good stand.
Alright.
I hope
You guys
that
go.
we're positive here.
You guys go to get on the limo. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode of Astral Drive. I don't know why I said that way. There was way
We'll
too
give it
many
another roll.
S's in
Go
that.
dial it back, roll it back.
That's the porn version of our show. ASSTRAL. Okay, that was another
Quite a
episode.
twist here.
It was another episode of Astral Drive, and a very interesting one at that, in my opinion. Obviously, this is a show on the internet, so everybody gets a chance to plug. Jerrold, what do you want to... Oh, Aether, what do you want to plug?
Well, we've got some more stuff in the works. Please keep posted for here, next beginning of the year. Otherwise, keep up with, catch up with all the interviews and other podcasts we've got here, and watch the other shows as they wrap up. And we'll see if we can squeeze something else in for the end of the year. But nothing fixed at the moment.
Nothing fixed, which is why I'm not going to advertise it. But the thing that you and I talked about makes me very excited. That being said, also check out Aether on his interview of... well, you can check out all these guys on their interview of Let's Start With Their Name. At this point, all three of you guys are up.
And you gotta watch us play Lethal Company every time we have new episodes.
Yes, please. It's a
very
lot of fun.
inconsistent.
Watch us die.
We're like 5 versions behind. We're sorry.
I got yelled at for that weird trap tease. I was like, why am I getting yelled at? So I didn't know there was traps in the game. Jeez. Philbelief 330, what do you want to plug?
Not too much going on yet. Got a new project in the works with Vic, a solo game, one shot in the Wickverse. So not sure when that stuff will go up. We haven't even recorded, but we did our session 0, so look forward to that one whenever it comes up, and that's about it.
Very excited for that. Do not have a release date, but it will be coming soon within the next couple of weeks here, and there'll probably be 15 minute to half-hour episodes. It's going to be a one-shot. It's going to be a lot of shooty bang bang. I'm very excited. Wizard, what do you want to plug, sir?
As always, Wizards Respite, wizardsrespite.com, website dedicated to all things TTRPG. We got all of these episodes are going to be there. Articles pertaining to various aspects of the greatest hobby in the world, as well as even like merch and t-shirts. So definitely check it out, and yeah, that's my plug for the night.
Alright everybody, as far as I am concerned, Old Man Gaming is a TTRPG and video game channel. You can find a lot of content for all of those things. It's not good content, but it's content, and it's just the amount of content I put out is truly stunning. Not good content, but content. You can check out all those things. You can also check out our t-shirts on wizardsrespite.com as well. And any of our actual plays and role-playing game stuff you can check out on wizardsrespite.com as well. I am very proud of Let's Start With Their Name. That's the podcast that is relatively new. I'm running out of people to interview. I need to find some more people. But I just interview people about their characters. You can check out all these guys and more on that show. And as far as I am concerned, as long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Later.
Night.